Tense agreement is a topic in grammar that can be difficult to master. It involves understanding the correct use of different verb tenses to convey the time of an action or event. English has a range of tenses, including present, past, future, and conditional. Not only do learners need to learn how to recognize and use these tenses, but they also need to understand how to use auxiliary verbs correctly to create different tense forms. For example, using the present continuous tense requires the auxiliary verb be plus the present participle of the main verb. This can be challenging to learn for learners who are not familiar with auxiliary verbs or verb conjugation rules.
Let's see tenses and examples. 1. Present tense. This tense is used to describe actions currently happening or to state facts that are always true. Example: Sarah walks to the park every morning. In this sentence, the verb walks is in the present tense, indicating that the action of walking is happening currently. 2. Past tense. Past tense is used to describe actions that have already taken place in the past. Example: Tom watched a movie last night. In this sentence, the verb watched is in the past tense, indicating that the action of watching the movie has already occurred.
3. Future tense. This tense is used to describe actions that will happen in the future. Example: we will go to the beach this weekend. In this sentence, the auxiliary verb will indicates that the action of going to the beach will take place in the future. 4. Present perfect tense. This tense is used to describe actions that have been completed in the recent past. Example: Sarah has finished her homework. In this sentence, the auxiliary verb has indicates that the action of finishing homework was completed in the recent past.
5. Past perfect tense. This tense is used to describe an action that was completed before another action in the past. Example: John had finished his dinner before the phone rang. In this sentence, the auxiliary verb had indicates that the action of finishing dinner happened before the phone rang, indicated by the past tense of rang. These are just a few examples of tense agreement, and mastering tense agreement requires practice and understanding of the different aspects of verb tenses.
A complex sentence is a sentence that contains an independent clause and at least one dependent clause. A dependent clause is also known as a subordinate clause, which means it cannot stand on its own as a sentence. For example, although he was tired, he decided to go for a run because he knew it would make him feel better.
Examples of complex sentence structures. 1. After she finished her work, she went for a walk, dependent clause, after she finished her work. 2. Although I was tired, I stayed up late to finish my book. Dependent clause, although I was tired. 3. Because the weather was so beautiful, we decided to go for a picnic. Dependent clause, because the weather was so beautiful.
4. As I was walking home from school, I saw a beautiful sunset. Dependent clause, as I was walking home from school. 5. Whenever she has free time, she enjoys reading novels. Dependent clause, whenever she has free time. In each of these examples, the dependent clause cannot stand alone as a complete sentence. It needs the independent clause to create a complete thought.
Pronouns are used to replace a noun or noun phrase in a sentence. Pronouns can include subject pronouns, he, she, they, object pronouns, him, her, them, possessive pronouns, his, hers, theirs, and reflexive pronouns, himself, herself, themselves.
Pronoun agreement means that the pronoun must agree in number and gender with the noun it is replacing. This means that if the noun is singular, the pronoun that replaces it must also be singular. If the noun is plural, the pronoun that replaces it must also be plural. Similarly, if the noun is masculine or feminine, the pronoun that replaces it must also be masculine or feminine.
Singular example. The dog barked loudly. It ran around the yard before being called back inside. The pronoun it refers to the singular noun dog. Plural example. The students worked hard on their essays. they were finally able to turn them in on time. The pronoun, they refers to the plural noun, students. Masculine example. John went to the store. He needed to buy some groceries. The pronoun, he refers to the masculine noun, John. Feminine example. Mary completed the project by herself. She was very proud of the result. The pronoun, she refers to the feminine noun, Mary. The subjunctive mood is a grammatical mood used to express various states of unreality such as hypothetical, doubtful, or contrary to fact situations. It is often used in expressions of wishes, commands, doubts, and suggestions. In English, the subjunctive verb form is often identical to the base form of the verb, apart from the third-person singular, which uses the form be, even when the subject is not he, she, or it.
There are some rules to keep in mind when using the subjunctive mood. 1. Use the subjunctive mood when expressing doubt, uncertainty, or hypothetical situations. 2. Use the subjunctive mood when expressing a wish or desire, especially when it involves someone else's actions. 3. Use the subjunctive mood after verbs that express a requirement or necessity, such as demand, insist, or recommend.
4. Use a verb instead of was when talking about hypothetical or unlikely situations in the past or present. 5. Use if or unless to introduce a clause that expresses a hypothetical situation or condition. 6. Use be instead of is or are after certain expressions such as it is important that or it is essential that. It's important to note that the subjunctive mood is mostly used in formal writing and situations, and it is less common in everyday speech.
Example sentences in the subjunctive mood. 1. If I were rich, I would buy a yacht. Contrary to fact or hypothetical situation. 2. It is important that she be on time. Suggestion, command or wish. 3. If only we had studied harder, we might have passed the exam. Expression of regret or doubt. 4. God bless you. Blessing or wish. Conditional sentences are sentences that express a hypothetical or uncertain situation along with the resulting outcome. These sentences typically have an if-then structure, where the if clause introduces the condition, and the main clause presents the outcome that follows if the condition is met. Conditional sentences are important in communication because they allow us to express hypothetical or uncertain situations and their possible outcomes. By using the correct conditional structure and verb tense, we can communicate our ideas accurately and effectively. There are several different types of conditional sentences, depending on the degree of likelihood or certainty of the condition and its outcome. The four main types are: 0 conditional, first conditional, second conditional, third conditional.
Let's see examples. 1. 0 conditional, used to express general truths, facts, or habits that always happen if the condition is fulfilled. Example, if you heat water to 100 degrees Celsius, it boils. 2. First conditional, used to express a hypothetical situation that is likely or possible and its outcome. Example, if it rains tomorrow, we will stay indoors.
3. Second conditional, used to express a hypothetical situation that is unlikely or not possible and its outcome. Example, if I had $1 million, I would buy a house in Italy. 4. With third conditional, used to express a hypothetical situation that did not happen in the past and its outcome. Example, if I had studied harder, I would have passed the exam.